History Month. Yes, February. Have you ever heard the term Black is beautiful? Yeah, of course. We all have, haven't we? Have you wondered what it means, what it really means? Now, how about the term systemic racism? We've all heard about it, but I'm not sure many of us know what it means. Now, would you like to meet someone who can explain these terms for us? Tell me, have you ever heard about a fabulous book entitled Born on This Continent? If you can answer yes or maybe to any of these questions, then I'd like to welcome you to January Jones sharing senior success stories. Today it's time to rest, relax, go get yourself some cheese, crackers, get a glass of wine, and join us in the no wine zone. Now we're going to meet someone who can personally share her own experiences with racism. She is an African textile artist, fashion designer, and inspirational speaker who has been described as a vibrant bundle of African energy whose zest and passion for life inspires everyone she meets. She's an international speaker, celebrated author, philanthropy consultant, Rooney International Scholar, 3 times TEDx speaker. She's passionate about helping people achieve their full potential and find their individual purpose in life. Now, I'd like to introduce you to a diversity connector, my dear friend Gertrude Mashi. Hi, Gertrude. I know, as we talked about before we went on the air, it's been close to 10 years. And I haven't forgot you at all, and I want to share with you that our show that we did together those many years ago has been put in replays constantly, all through Blog Talk and iHeart and everywhere, and it still is just a very popular show with everyone. Um, so, what have you been doing in these last 10 years so I can catch up with? Uh-huh. Oh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Well, oh, wow, wow. Isn't that exciting? I that worked out well for you then. You weren't Yeah, you were stuck somewhere you didn't wanna be. Yeah, and, this is Black History Month, which was why you sent me a fabulous email this past week or so, and I looked at it and I thought, "I gotta get that gal back here and have her share her experiences and her knowledge of systemic racism." We hear about that all the time, but not many of us know what it actually means. And from your email, I understand there's 5 different kinds of racism: internalized, impersonal, individual, structural, and institutional. Could you go through each one of those with us and give us some insight into what it means and your experiences with those kinds of racism? Hmm. Hmm. Uh-huh. Oh, wow. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Right, right. Mhm. Okay. Right. Mhm. Mhm. I'm I'm curious to ask you, how did your parents manage to do this? Were they extremely wealthy? Mhm. Mhm. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Wow. Oh my gosh. Now when you went to the UK, did your grandmother go with you or just the 2 of you? Mhm. 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 Mm. Uh-huh. Oh. Oh, sure. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. Uh-huh. Mhm. Wow. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Mhm. Oh. Mhm. Mhm. Wow. Yeah. That is just an amazing, this is going to be an amazing visit with you today. I know my listeners are going to learn so much. Before we go on, I do want to share something with my listeners. If you are a whiner or know a whiner, this book is for you.
Lately, there's a whining epidemic in our world. People are even whining about whining. Are you sick and tired of listening to everyone whining all the time? So was January Jones, the author of Thou Shall Not Whine, the 11th commandment that reached #1 at Amazon.com. Ms. Jones based her book on a survey of the top 10 things that people whine about at all ages and all stages of life. January is a success coach that can tell you how to help others. When you buy Thou Shalt Not Whine, the 11th commandment, you'll find out what people whine about and how to stop them from whining. This is the perfect gift book to give or get for any occasion. Thou Shall Not Whine was voted the best gift to be given anonymously for those special people in your life. Ms. Jones is an internationally known author in the style of Irma Bombeck, specializing in housewife humor with her book being published in Korea and China. You can find Thou Shall Not Whine at Amazon.com.
Welcome back to the No Wine Zone with Gertrude Mache. And she is definitely not a whiner because she is a winner, as you'll find out as we listen to more of her story. Now, here you were with your mother going to the villages to sell things. What an experience for a child. Did you enjoy it, or was it a task, or how did it evolve? Oh, okay. Mhm. Right, right. Okay. Okay. Mhm. Mhm, mhm, mhm. Oh, my gosh. Mhm. Gotcha. Oh, yeah. Wow. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Mhm. Yes. Mhm, mhm. Wow. Oh, uh-huh. Oh my gosh. How wonderful. Mhm, mhm. Oh, yes, yes. Mhm. Mm, yeah. Mhm. Wow. Well, that's such a marvelous lesson to learn when you're only 6 years old and to keep it with you through your entire life. Did your sister how was she the younger one, or how did uh-huh. Mhm. And, so was it difficult for your parents to get you girls into, the school with the Dominican nuns? How did that come about? Mhm. Uh-huh. Mhm. Mhm. Uh, okay, okay. Now when you got into the school, were you, how were you were you accepted, or how did the transition go? Did the other children bully you? Oh, yeah. Mhm. Oh my gosh, Kaka, huh? Yeah. Mhm. Yes, yes. Mhm. Wonderful. Mhm. Mhm. Really? Mm, by them. Mhm. Oh my god. Mhm. 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 Mm. I shared a similar story, not as dramatic as yours, obviously, but I also went to a Catholic school my entire life. I'd never had been to the public schools ever. And we had the situation where one of my classmates, a gal I love, there were only 5 girls who were Black in our class. There was like about 180, and she was fabulous. She was a student council. She was, you name it, she did it. And she was really well liked. Everyone loved her. And when we got to graduation time, they were always trying to get us to become nuns, and we were all being brainwashed. So we always think about it whenever we broke up with a boyfriend or something. And so it came to graduation time, and she applied to go in the convent. She wanted to become a nun. She was very religious. Her parents were Catholic, they were religious, and this is the thing that turned me off from the whole story. She was turned down by the white convent, by the nuns, because they had never had a Black woman join them. And I thought, "Oh my gosh, that's so hypocritical," because here they were teaching us love everyone, we're all equal. And then when it came to that situation, and just like you, I sat down and I said, this isn't right. Something's wrong here. Hmm. Good. Yeah. Wow. Um, Impersonal racism. Tell me a little bit of what's that like? Mhm. 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 Oh, okay. Oh, really? Yeah, sure. Oh. Mhm. Oh. Mhm. Mhm. Oh, I see, the pencil pens. Really? Like, I've never heard of anything like that. Mhm. 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 Oh. You know, when you were speaking earlier, you said "our masters," and I thought I heard you say "monsters." Yeah, I think subliminally, that's what I was thinking. I definitely heard monsters on that one. When you went to this school, was it a boarding school? Did you live there or did you go back and forth? Mhm. Well, that's wonderful that you didn't have to stay there with all these kids bullying you and the picking on you. I can really oh, that's just horrible to think about. You know, before we go to break, would you share with our listeners your website and where they can, find you? Mhm. Oh, wonderful, good. And that is down at the bottom of the screen. So make a note and make sure you go to check her out. And right now, we're going to hear a little bit about who killed Kennedy.
Let me ask you a question. Are you still wondering who killed Kennedy? Over 50 years later, the assassination is still a mystery. It is unfinished business for our country. Now, get ready for a theory that you've never heard before, but will make more sense than any other conspiracy theory that you've ever heard in the past. January Jones speaks the unspeakable in her book, Jackie, Ari, and Jack, The Tragic Love Triangle, connecting Jackie and Aristotle Onassis romantically prior to JFK's assassination. Did you know that Ari was Jackie's guest in the White House during the JFK funeral? He was the only non-family member who was invited by Jackie to stay there during the funeral. Aristotle Onassis was one of the wealthiest men in the world, with the means, the motive, and the money to order an assassination that was the perfect crime of the last century. Ari needed class, and Jackie needed cash. They were perfect for each other. Now, what is Camelot? It is but another tragic love triangle. Jackie, Ari, and Jack is available at JanuaryJones.com, Amazon.com, and audiobooks.com, read by Ms. Jones.
Welcome back with our author who is visiting with us from Melbourne, Australia, Gertrude Machi. And she is also, I want to share, she's also a granny. And so I think I'm going to have to make her an honorary glitter granny so she can glow with me while she's enjoying her grandson. I've read things about the issue with hair for Black families and for children, especially for girls, and dealing with it is quite a complicated thing, isn't it? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah. Hmm. Really? Hmm. Oh, okay. Hmm. Yes. Okay. That's a big factor. Talking about DNA, our family did that. And I discovered after 75 years that I had a brother I didn't know had existed. He's a half brother. We had different mothers, but we had the same father. And it took 75 years for us to find each other. And we've had a wonderful, we call it the highlight of our twilight relationship. And it's interesting. I think I was surprised too with the DNA thing because my husband's family's Norwegian. And so I've been masquerading for 53 years as a Norwegian. And then my DNA came back and I found out that I was 2% Norwegian. So I I'm one of you guys. The other thing too, we had an interesting guest on a few, months ago, and he talked about the Osage Indians here in the United States, and those children too were taken from their families and taken and put into, Catholic schools, completely erased their, heritage from them. Yeah. Uh-huh, yeah, get rude. Uh-huh, mhm. Good. Mhm, yes. Mhm, yes. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. Share with us, how did your, grandmother get back and find her real family? How long did it take, and how did she do it? Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Well, that I can share that feeling of finding a brother after all those years. It's a wonderful experience. What else would you share about, your experiences with racism for people? Mhm, mhm, uh-huh, Oh, yeah. Mm-mm, uh-huh, mhm, okay, mhm, yeah. Mhm, mhm, uh-huh, Mhm. Okay. Mhm. Mhm. Uh-huh. Mhm, mhm. Oh my gosh, that's an amazing story. It's nice that you can tell it and laugh about it all these years later. We're gonna take a break now and ask, have you ever met someone who was unforgettable? I would like to share with you some of the most memorable guests who have been on this show. Have you ever met someone who was unforgettable? Someone who has touched your heart and soul? People who have faced difficult problems? People who have struggled to find solutions? People who fearlessly shared their stories? People who have not only informed you but inspired you? People who have priceless personalities? I have been fortunate to host an internet radio talk show called January Jones Sharing Success Stories, and it has been my privilege to interview hundreds of guests. My guests have shared their stories, their struggles, their secrets, and their successes in their own words. In this book, we're talking about people dealing with problems such as incest, molestation, runaway kids, child abuse, drug abuse, polygamy, unemployment, scandal, and starting over. Then there are my guests dealing with difficult physical struggles such as blindness, cancer, and birth defects that are beyond traumatic. My guests have all been exciting, eclectic, and energizing. They have amazed, amused, and even astonished me. I have adored getting to meet them, and I adore sharing them with you.
Attention all listeners. Priceless Personalities, Success Stories Shared by January Jones, Volume 2 is now available at Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle editions. You'll be able to meet 10 amazing people who will be sharing their own personal stories with all their struggles, successes, and solutions, sprinkled with lots of humor and hope. Priceless Personalities features a teenager who becomes one of the famous Supremes from Motown, a nurse who as a humorist helps people to heal, an inspiring laughter yoga instructor, a mother dealing with the loss of a child, an incredible motivational speaker, a woman who married 5 times, a gifted paranormal nurse, a wise economist, a funny female humorist, along with an older man sharing his sweet childhood in the Deep South. January's guests are all amazing and amusing. You will never forget meeting them. Go to Amazon.com for your own priceless experience. Welcome back with another priceless personality, a guest on our show. And she's been on our show. This is her second visit with us. And she's explaining systemic racism to some of us and giving us incredible examples of how it happened and how it affected her entire life. Let me ask you a question. We have to end the show, sadly, but before we end, I always ask this question to everyone who comes on the show. If you could have dinner with anyone, living or dead, besides me, who would you choose to dine with? Oh my gosh. Wow.
Oh my god. Oh. Oh, yeah, that's for sure. That's an interesting question, because so many people surprise me, and you're the first one who's ever said Nelson Mandela, but I could see where he would fit right in there. A lot of my guests say they'd like to have dinner with Oprah, and I certainly would. She's someone, we talk about this presidential thing going on, and I say, well, I would like to see, of course, Michelle Obama run for president, and if not her, Oprah. But I think that's wishful thinking. I'm sure a lot of women feel that way. So, what are your plans now in the future? What are you up to lately? Uh huh. Hmm. Uh-huh. Oh, that's fascinating. That's wonderful to hear. I'm glad to see that you're keeping so active. We have to do that when we get to this stage. Now, when you look back, do you have any regrets or things that you wish you could do over, do differently when you look back on your life? Hmm. 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 Oh, God. Oh, for sure. And have you written a memoir yet, or you're in? Well, or not? Mhm. Oh, wonderful. Good. Wow, that's incredible. Before we go on, I want to remind our listeners that all of the books that I was promoting at Amazon, they're all now available in Audible form too. Also, I wanted to share with you, Gertrude, that I'm reading an amazing book. A Black friend of mine gave it to me. It's 1619. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it tells a different view of our American Revolution, our country, and it's a Black point of view that most people have never heard about. And I'll be t- I'll be talking more about that book on the show in the future. Um, so nice to have you back with us. And it's been good to touch base again. Oh, for sure, for sure. Remember, listeners, we hope you've enjoyed our time together. We tried to be informative and inspiring. My upcoming guests will all be eclectic, exciting, and energizing, just like Getter. Next Tuesday at 3 p.m., I'm looking forward to welcoming a new friend. Her name is Cindy Jordan. And she's an author of an amazing book called The Pearl that when I read it, I couldn't put it down, and I highly recommend it. Now, my 80-year-old thought for the day, and this is a fun one. This is the law of the bathtub. And this states that when the body is fully immersed in water, for sure, the telephone will ring. And if you and if you're close to it and you get it, then you will drop it in the water. So don't get involved with the law of the bathtub. This is January Jones signing off as the Glitter Granny. Thank you for entering the No Wine Zone with us today. It's been so much fun having you here. And please share our stories and our show with everyone you know. And remember, stop whining and then start smiling. And if that doesn't work, then you can just start eating chocolate. Lots of chocolate. Goodbye to Australia. Okay, come back again.
We want to thank you for listening to January Jones Sharing Success Stories. Always remember Ms. Jones' personal mantra: if you can think it, you can do it. That's what all of our guests have done with their lives, and so can you. You are the ultimate success coach in your own life. All you need to do will be to start sharing your own story with your family and friends. We hope that our guest stories will encourage you to explore an equation in your future that will combine your creativity plus connecting with others will enable you to be successful too. Always remember, your passion plus your purpose will equal prosperity as you explore the wonderful world of January Jones.